That's a good win, Molly. That's a good win, Molly Moo Moose. Oh, you want nothing to do with me, do you? Let's just do the intro real quick. Mariners win 4-2. They improved to 30-26. They win the first two of the 4-game series against the Houston Astros. Let's go ahead and put you down, huh? I love you, Molly. I'm sorry that I made you do this. She did not want to be up there. She didn't mind it at first, but she did not want to be up there after I picked her up. She's currently passed out right behind me. Totally fine, but whew, lesson learned. May not see Molly up here for a little while. Let's go over the scoring plays. Mariners get on the board first with a Julio Rodriguez opposite field single to score. Josh Rojas gives the Mariners a 1-0 lead. In the fourth inning, Alex Bregman goes down and gets a pitch that scores Jeremy Pena. It's a homer, which is what I was trying to say. Alex Bregman homers to left to score Jeremy Pena. That makes it a 2-1 game. That's all the scoring until the 8th, when Josh Rojas doubles home Jonathan Clase pitch running for Mitch Haniger. That makes it 2-2. And then Julio Rodriguez reaches on an infield single. Bliss scores on that play. A throwing error allows Rojas to also score. 4-2. Mariners get the win. This would have been a tough loss. They're all not good. There are some that are more justifiable than others, and you could have justified it a little bit. Houston's played a heck of a lot better since their terrible, terrible start. But this wouldn't have been a good loss. Let's make that clear. I think the biggest negative from this game is pretty obviously that this team really struggled against Hunter Brown, and Hunter Brown is not good. Hunter Brown can potentially be good. It's the guy who struck out 178 guys in 144 innings last year. There's no doubt the stuff's good. His command stinks. And the fact that I don't think the Mariners drew a walk against him, no, they didn't. Because they only got one walk, and we will talk about it. That's not good. That's not good. JP Crawford really struggled. He did have a double, but outside of that double, 3 really bad at bats, including one in the 8th. Big Dumper continues to not look great. Luke Raley was awful. I mean, horrendous. Worst game I've seen Luke Raley play in quite some time. And the hotness of the middle of May has kind of dissipated lately, which we knew was going to happen. Tom Kinzone was bad. It was not a great offensive effort. Mitch Haniger had 2 really bad at bats, but we'll talk about the third at bat in the positive section. You know, this offense has to get better. And it's worth pointing out that against a pretty mediocre Houston pitching staff, they've scored in 3 of the 18 innings. And it kind of looked like it was going to be 2. It's not great. The offense has to get better. 7 runs over 2 games is not terrible. Well, it's pretty close to terrible. It's not ideal. There you go. There we go. I don't want anyone yelling at me that I don't care. Yell at me all you want. That's really it for the negatives. The positive is simply Seattle, of course. They provide the very best in Seattle sports gear. Awesome stuff for the Mariners, Seahawks, Kraken, Huskies, Storm, Sounders. Again, I love this hat so much. Once you find all that great stuff, it doesn't matter what team that you're buying for. Use code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order. It's a great deal. MOLLYWHOP15. If you can't remember the website, which is www.simplyseattle.com, and you can't remember that code, just go into the video description. There's a link that'll take you right there. Copy paste that code. No excuses. Great deal from great people. Positives, Luis Castillo. And I've got to be honest, I was kind of wondering if we might have to mention Luis Castillo in the negative section for a little bit. He got away with some tonight. He did. And it's funny that he does. The only runs he gives up are on the 2-run homer. And that was a much better pitch than some of the other pitches that were hit pretty far. And maybe on a warmer day, some balls sticking out. Maybe. But I thought he settled down pretty nicely. And again, against what I think is still a pretty good Houston lineup, to go 6 innings and only give up 2 runs is pretty darn solid. Has he been at his best over these last 3 starts? Not even close. But he's faced the Yankees, he's faced the Orioles, and he's faced the Astros, and he's given up all of 7 runs over 3 starts. It's pretty darn good, man. It's pretty darn good, and I don't think that there is any doubt whatsoever that he is the ace of this staff right now. All due respect to Logan Gilbert and some other guys, Brian Wu has pitched at an ace-like level over a smaller sample size, to be sure. But Luis Castillo was brought in to be your ace, and for the overwhelming majority of the year, he's been just that. We will take 6 innings of 2-run baseball. The bullpen was phenomenal. And it's awesome to say that on a night where you don't have Andres Munoz available. Jeez Louise. Come on, Chris. Austin Voth was excellent. Taylor Saucedo was even better than excellent. Now, you look at 7 pitches for 14 strikes or 14 pitches for 7 strikes. You know, people who can talk get that right, but I'm still learning, apparently. He was phenomenal. Phenomenal against a quality part of the order. Really impressed with what Saucedo did, and the best I've seen Ryne Stanek pitch all year. Not even close. And it was awesome to have a 2-run lead in that situation, too. Just, I don't know, it's just you pitch with a little more confidence. Offensively, you're changing your approach a little bit. It was great to have that 2-run lead for him, but Ryne Stanek pitched outstanding today, which has been great to see because I have not used those words very often in the year of our Lord 2024. I still don't have a lot of confidence. I still think you have to make moves to improve this bullpen. But today was more than good enough. More than good enough. And they get the job done in high leverage situations. Voth and Saucedo keep you in the game. You take the lead, and Stanek more than gets the job done. Great to see that when you don't have arguably the best closer in the American League pitching. Not available, excuse me. Yeah, really nice job by the bullpen. Offensively, nice game from Josh Rojas. He has just been so good against the Houston Astros this year. I swear. I mean, he's only hitting 287 now, which only is because he was hitting like 330 not that long ago. But I swear 20 of those hits have come against the Astros. He's just cleaned their clock and came up huge with that RBI double. And let's just go over that inning, because that inning, I think, was massive. So Mitch Haniger, who, again, had 2 terrible at-bats earlier. Terrible. And he's down 2 strikes. And against Ryan Pressly, a guy that I think the Seattle Mariners need to look at if Houston falls out of this thing. Lines a double. Ropes a double. And so you've got the tying run at second base with nobody out. And you smartly pinch run for him. You have Class A, who is, I believe, 7 grades higher than Mitch Haniger on the speed scale. Absolutely the right call. You bring him in, and you have Ryan Bliss at the plate. And for the first time, I think, all year, they may have had a sacrifice. I'm not looking it up. I cannot remember the last time the Seattle Mariners tried for a sacrifice bunt. They've tried some bunts for hits, but actually just flat out sacrifice bunt. Can't remember the last time they tried it. And Bliss goes up there, and he fails. He fails on the first attempt. He fails on the second attempt. And now there's 2 strikes for Ryan Bliss against, again, you know, you take a look at the numbers for Ryan Pressly, and I haven't looked at him too recently. They haven't been to the level of, he has a 5.75 ERA. Reliever ERA and all that stuff. But there's no denying that this guy's had a lot of success at the highest level. A lot. You get 2 strikes on you, and you draw a walk. I don't think you can say enough good things about that at bat, because you have him up there. I can't imagine that they had him bunting too often in Tacoma. Admittedly, I don't watch every Tacoma Rainiers game, but I can't imagine that's something he's working super hard on. And for every yokel who wants to say, why can't these kids get bunts down? You try it. You try doing it against 98 with that kind of movement, and against sliders that are above average fastballs in 1994. You try to bunt. You try to keep that ball fair. You try it. Yeah, just see how it goes. And I'll pay for your hospital bill afterwards. It's so hard to do. So hard to do. It's just a different game. Guys aren't throwing 88 down the middle anymore with no spin. And even that, it's not easy for your average Joe. I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it against 70 miles per hour. Anyway, he's asked to do something that is not in his comfort zone, clearly. But he's still able to draw that walk. And it ended up being huge. Huge. Because the runner advances to third on a pitch that is, I believe they called a wild pitch. If it wasn't a wild pitch, it should be a wild pitch. And there's a runner on third, and they're not pitching around Ryan Bliss, but he's still able to lay off some really good offerings. And he draws that walk. And then Crawford comes up. You know, I trust JP Crawford quite a bit. Today was not his day. Sans that double, it was not his day at all. And he had one of the worst at-bats I've seen from a Seattle Mariner this year, if I'm just being completely honest with you. I don't like it. I'm super proud of my son and the offensive work he's done, but he did not have a good at-bat. You get that strikeout, but then Josh Rojas gets that double. And then Julio Rodriguez hits the ball. No, let's talk about that at-bat at first. He gets to 2 strikes. He just misses on a foul ball. Was just a little late on it. Trying to drive that ball into the right center gap. Just a little late. And then he falls behind 0-2. And against a guy who struck out an awful lot of people, he's able to make contact. And he hits it maybe 15 feet. And he's going to beat that play out. And 2 things you have to give credit to. Number 1, Ryan Bliss got an outstanding jump on that ball. Outstanding. And is going to score the run no matter what happens. You have no play at the plate because Bliss got such a good jump on that baseball. And number 2, Julio Rodriguez made contact with a really tough pitch. And this is what can happen when you make contact. Especially when you have that kind of speed. And the infielder rushes to throw. Bliss is already scored. And Rojas is able to score to give you that 4-2 lead. That's awesome baseball. Is it pretty baseball? No. It's not something that you're going to see in the encyclopedias, if they still made encyclopedias. But it was awesome baseball. It was a terrific job by Julio to make contact with that pitch, using his God-given athleticism to get to first base. That play wouldn't have been close. And, well, it would have been a little close, but he was going to beat that out. And a great job by Bliss to make that read. And just making contact, man. Just putting the ball in play. And he did also, Julio did an outstanding job in that first inning of driving that ball from Brown to give them that 1-0 lead. He's looked phenomenal over the last 4 games. Phenomenal. Needs to keep it up. But he's looked really good. And you get these couple of wins. You're 30-26. Which, you know, still isn't good enough. But you are controlling this division right now. For better or worse. And the only thing you can really say is, imagine if they'd played a little better earlier and a little better at the end of that road trip. Maybe you're talking about a 5 or 6 game lead. That'd be pretty awesome. But you didn't. And now you got to take care of business. And so far in this homestand, you have done exactly that. Let me take a look at what the pitching matchups are real quick. How do you forget George Kirby versus Justin Verlander? At least that's what ESPN is telling me. And I'm pretty sure I've heard that. Now, ESPN's kind of bit me a couple of times this year because they don't always update the stuff fairly quickly. And once again, the only thing I have open on here is StreamYard here and Mariner ESPN right here. That's all I have. Maybe if I was professional, I'd have notes and stuff like that, but I don't. And I'm pretty good at this for only that, if in my humble estimation. If you're going to lose a game in this series, it's that one, but I think George Kirby's going to shove. That's my early prediction, is that George Kirby's going to shove out of frustration for how he pitched in those last couple of games. I expect a really good start. Might be a lower scoring game, but I think George Kirby's going to shove. So we're getting real close to 1,500 subscribers. I really appreciate the support. Really appreciate if you hit join. $4.99 a month. It's a good deal, I think. People seem to like it. Going to have a video Thursday updating the top 15 prospects in the system. But I really want to get to 1,500 by the end of the month. And I keep mentioning it. And this is how desperate I am. I'm going to give this to somebody. Can you see that? I think you can. It's a little glary. But that's a 9 out of 10 Randy Johnson autograph with dual relic game used memorabilia from a set called Topps Diamond Icons, which those of you familiar with cards, extremely expensive. I was very fortunate to get this card, but I'm giving it to somebody. I'll tell you how you can get that card on Wednesday. But for now, make sure you hit subscribe to win a really cool thing. So I'd appreciate you hitting like, of course, hitting subscribe if you haven't. Awesome. Awesome to see them bounce back from the ugly first few games against the Nationals, or first few games against the series against the Nationals. And guarantee a split now, but get greedy. Got to win this series, knowing that you got some very bad baseball teams coming up too. Be awesome. Good stuff. Really good stuff.